Hello and welcome to our update here at Revesby Estate Farms for February. Now we'll start with the weather as normal, always a talking point. February has been a drier than normal, which isn't something we really like to say, especially this early on in the year. Remember last year was a very dry year. April we only had, 4.8 mil of rain in it. And since then we have really struggled to get the moistures back in the soil. So the February, what we've just had, we ended up with 9.8 mil. Take an average year where we could have between 50 and 60 mil in February. 9.8 really isn't anything at all. February is what is known locally as February fill dike. So that's normally when we top all the water levels up. The land gets to capacity. Once the land's at capacity, the land drains start running and that water runs into the ditches and drains away. At the moment, no land drains are running, which means the land is not at capacity. We're not holding all the water in the land, which we could do, which doesn't bode well. If we go into more drier spells, we could run out of moisture for these crops to perform how they should do. But not much we can do about that. We have to deal with what we got dealt with. So yes, 9.8 mil of rain, and that all came at the end of February. We were sat on 4 mil right until almost the last week or so of February. So what have we been up to in February? Busy month. Firewood as normal. Firewood still continues to sell rapidly, so the lads are busy processing that as fast as they can, drying it as fast as we can down to below 20% moisture. So that keeps us very occupied. But in between doing the firewood, we've managed to get all our nitrogens for this round on our oilseed rapes, the winter barleys, and majority of the winter wheat has had the nitrogen on it. So Adrian's been busy doing that. Also, drilling is underway. All our spring beans are in the ground, half of our spring barley is in, and our oats are in the ground. So it's been a very, very busy month. What we'll do on this video is, because we got the new avatar back end of last year, I've just done a segment really showing how that drill works, the controls of it, and we have been drilling some beans. So yeah, let's take a look at that. So we are on the 9th of February and we are out with our new Porsche Avatar 10 meter. We are direct drilling spring beans into our cover crops, which we drilled direct in behind the wheat removal last year. Normally this would be lush green what we're drilling into. We put a cover crop of oats and Phacelia in here. Here is the Phacelia, looking a bit sorry for itself. It has actually survived the frost. And then if we look around like here, you can see what would have been oats. These oats are normally very tall, very bushed out, and the idea with those is they put the roots in the ground, keep the soil friable for the drill to run in, but also act as a shade cover to swamp the weeds out. So whilst the beans get coming through the ground, the oats are covering, stopping the light, stops the flush of weed coming, so we don't have to use any herbicides. We will use one application of Roundup to take the Phacelia and the oats out, but that is it. But this year, these prolonged frosts have actually hurt these spring oats we've popped in here. You can see the brown, that is all the oats. So we haven't got the cover we wanted, but not much we can do about that. Here it is, our 960 TerraTrack, travelling light on the ground. It's pulling it. So this hopper on the front here, this is our small seed hopper. This isn't actually being used whilst I'm putting these beans in the ground, but we can put things on there like microgranular starter fertilizers, small seeds like oilseed rape or clovers, slug pellets down the spout to protect wheat seed or oilseed rape seeds if it's needed. Gives us an option. Then in here you can see the split just here. We've got one hopper and then two hoppers. This back hopper's got the bean seed in, and then this front hopper here has got our fertilizer. We are putting the fertilizer down with the beans. It's phosphate and the potash plus some magnesium and calcium. Beans love that, gets them going well, gets them rooting strongly. So they're being metered out here. This is our metering unit. So you can see the two one at the back there, it's got 2 motors on, and then the one at the front here. It's got 2 motors on it because this drill splits in half. So if we're overlapping, we can switch one half off. One of these motors here will stop turning, and obviously the other one carries on turning. So seeds coming out the hopper, drops into that. This motor will turn. We've calibrated it so it knows on 1 revolution how many grams of product is being dropped out. So depending on how fast we go, this motor speeds up or slows down to keep the same amount of product coming out per hectare. Drops in here. This flap just comes loose, so when we're calibrating, we put a collection bag underneath to collect it. Once we're calibrated, that shoots up. So as we're driving along, that's spinning, drops the product in. The air from the fans coming down these tubes and collects the seed or fertilizer and blows it all the way to the back of the drill. So it comes out to the back of the drill to here. The left-hand pipe is feeding here and feeds up into what we call our distribution head, which is here, and has all these pipes coming off. All these pipes then head down onto what we call the coulters. You can see them there. As you can see, they're all individually numbered, because in the cab on my display, if one of these happens to block, it sets a sensor off and it'll tell me that the seed isn't passing through it, and I know I've got a blocked coulter. So we'll take this outside one here. So it's come from the metering unit all the way to the back, blown across the tube there up to the metering unit, and then down these single individual tubes. Comes down here, and we are hitting in to the coulter here. You can't see it very easily, but because I've come to a stop, you can see the seed there, the bean seeds in the bottom. That is my coulter, which is in the ground. This here, what I've got my fingers on, is known as the closing tongue. That's just pushing the seed into the ground to get good seed soil contact. This disc is cutting at an angle through the soil, and then I've got an edge here which just opens up that slot to pop the seed in. The tongue then pushes the seed into the ground, and then this following wheel here is running at an angle, and it is basically chipping the edge off the groove what's been made to push the soil back in and close the slot for us. So that's why this is known as a direct drill, because it can work into fairly solid ground. We can put pressure onto the back. So these rams here, they actually put pressure down onto these. So if the ground's hard, we can force more pressure to force the coulters into the ground. If we're working in loose soil, pretty much like we are now, we can just dial that pressure off so we don't bury these too much into the ground. So that's how this drill's working. Fairly straightforward, takes little pulling. It's saving us on cultivations, saving our soil from being moved, the carbon from being released. And we'll keep you updated how the crop gets on. Here we can see our control screen for the actual drill. This is also our tractor control screen. Let's pop on here. There you go, you can see all the controls. I can alter on the tractor, put it back to the drill. So here, what's this telling me? So these green lines here are all my coulters, the actual points of the drill in contact with the ground, which is popping the seed into the ground. Green means they are all flowing, they've all got seed coming down them. So that is just telling me everything is good on there. All these icons along here is just telling me that the drill's down in work. What I can do is flick on this button next to it, and that's if we start getting to a bit of a wetter part of the field and we start struggling a little bit. I can just raise the drill out the ground, but it'll carry on drilling just to allow me to get a little bit more forward momentum. But in normal working mode, we're on this button here, and as we lift the drill up, that will go yellow, and all of these will go grey to show it has stopped seeding. Next one's along here are my what we call our tram line, and here this screen here is the rhythm 3 of 3. So we are in 10 metre controlled traffic, and we have a 30 metre wide spread. Now our tram lines are the points of the field that the spread tractor travels up and down on, known as tram line. So every third one we will block off some coulters. I'll show you in a minute. It means we don't put any seed down there, so we don't need to seed there because that's where we're going to traffic in the field throughout the growing season. So that just tells me there at the moment I'm on rhythm 3 of 3. When we get to 2, so it'll go 1 of 3, and then when we get to 2 of 3, we will put tram lines in. So that automatically counts. I can just plus or minus them or pause it here. The other sections, 1 and 2 there, 1 and 2 hoppers. You can see here I'm aiming at 120 kilos of, this is actually my fertilizer hopper here, and that's what it's actually putting on live data there. And this next one's got the bean seed in it. We're going at 234 kilos a hectare, and that's what it is actually putting on. Next is my fan, the fan which is blowing the seed all the way to the back. That's just its speed. And then the next one there is my actual speed, my travelling speed, which should match nicely up to what the tractor speed is here. And then down this right hand side, that's my main on off button, so I can switch the drill on or off. These are pluses or minus for my seed rate. If I want to add 10% more, we plus it or minus it. These are the coulter pressures, what I'm pushing the coulter actually down into the ground. If we've got a tougher bit, we could add more pressure, or if we've got a soft bit, we could take more pressure off. And then these are just my section controls for the drill. So here we go, I'm just coming to the end of the field now. If I lift up, you'll see there we go, it's gone to yellow, which tells me, and all them bars have gone greyed out, which actually tells me, if we look behind, that the drill is down to the ground and we are turning. So as we head round here now, actually we're on the wrong sequence, just fast forward that now onto 2, because we're about to hit onto a tram line. So as we come down, that's my GPS screen telling me where we're going. We line up, we hit the auto screen, the tractor takes over, no steering needed. We then put the drill back down into work. As it does, we'll get a green go ahead light. There we go, and all the coulters go green. Now you can see them ones blanked out in the middle. That is because we are tram lining on this section. 2 or 3 on the rhythm is a tram liner. So we are actually tram lining. So that is our drill. If I just click on one of these buttons here, this is where I set what we're drilling per hectare. That one's telling me what I've got left in my hopper, and if I just click on this little cog at the side, 3 hoppers on the drill. First one's not being used. Number 2's got my fertilizer in it. It has actually got 201 kilos left in it, which actually means, oops, I can do another 2 hectares here, and this one's got 736 kilos in, means I can do another 3 hectares till I am empty. So that's just basic control there for the drill. It is drilling into the sunset. Well, I hope you found that little video informative there. We'll keep you informed of how them crops grow throughout the year. The beans will be up and in good rows sort of mid-March, so yeah, March we can maybe just whip back to them fields and have a quick look, show you how the beans are progressing, and keep you informed of what we've been up to as the year unfolds. Okay, we will see you again next time.